last week. Theme editor, yeah. And AI integration from Mark. Not yet time zone. Well, PST, BST, whatever. Winter, fall, summer, spring time. We think talked about potential locations. Discord talks and Victoria, what do you have to say today?
Yeah, I already put the link in the chat for the questionnaire for Orchard Harvest, as I promised last week.
Did you?
Yes, and I suggest everyone to fill it out to get as many feedbacks as possible. Now you can see a demonstration of how you should fill it out.
This one is hard. I don't want either. And I can just have that.
You always have a problem with the dates.
Yeah, because I have stuff to do every time you pick a date. Okay, I won't fill it.
You have to.
What? Since when I have to? What the stupid? I don't care. If you pick the wrong one, then I won't join. What? Boom.
I hope some of you have done the same thing in the meanwhile.
Let's see. Okay, so that's the form to ask where people want to go. And I'm telling you, I won't go to South Africa. Whatever day it is.
That's okay.
I have a hotel booked for
maybe Mexico.
April.
You'll go.
I don't know if we'll be able to go to Mexico. Who knows?
That's the point.
I don't know if people will be able to go to USA. Who knows? So Canada is safe. Okay. Like 35 hours to go to South Africa from the US. 35 hours of travel. Why would we do that? It's not even cheap. I know I wanted to go and I have the hotel booked, but I have to cancel. So, okay. Where do I click? This one. So today, what's the date? 2/24. Do we have demos?
I do demos, not one demos. Hopefully we have time for my demos.
Always have time. Let me think. Where's
I have a demo too.
Sham? Wow.
Yep.
1 second. I need to click. I need to click Mike. We have Hisham. What do we have? Do we have topics, questions, stuff? We have release 3.0. We have release 2.3. What do we have? That's it. Nothing else. Status. Status. Let's see. Some stuff. When was it? 17. Here. Let me click. 1. Um, 17. This one. This is a PR. So this one. Oh, okay. Nick. Is that a new image? Or is it the one on GitHub or somewhere?
An old one, that one.
It's old one, yeah, probably on the Gravatar stuff.
Yeah.
It's Gravatar. Need to update it. I don't recognize you.
I look young in that one, I'm all right.
Fixed double border, collapsed cards. We saw that. I think we got a demo last week, or we looked at the issue. Or maybe you mentioned it last week.
I can't remember who mentioned it last week. 2 weeks ago, somebody mentioned it, and then I did a fix for it.
Font awesome 7.2. Remove unnecessary get action context async. Okay. Reminds me when Mike kept creating extension methods to do things at the beginning. We don't do that anymore, that much. Youssef, new contributor, Elasticsearch indexing authorization handler. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. What is it?
The title is totally wrong.
Okay.
It's
Permission migration.
yes, migrating to the new base permission from the indexing service.
New permissions. Why is that? Okay, new permission per index, query each index, sure. all permissions. Two of them. There must be a get dynamic permissions or something somewhere.
Oh, Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, but these permissions are now managed in the base service, in the indexing module, and Elastic permissions are not used anymore. And they need to migrate to from Elastic query to query with a profile name. They are dynamic already.
Well, at least we'll try Sarah. Where role is role class role, which is called of type role. Yeah. Cool. So updating Elasticsearch permissions. Fix data localization deployment. I think we already fixed that last week. Maybe not. Maybe this is the one. Shape view model. Shape view model. Now I'm confused. Shape view model instead of the view model. Unless this is not used as a dynamic proxy anymore. I'm not sure there's a difference there. I hope there is no difference there, or it was broken, but I don't think so. This is moving, this is good, and then translation view model. So we have a new driver. No, this was there at deployment. So this is using the helper method for deployment, but it should do the same thing. We have the source, deployment step, and the driver. Yep. So that's just rewriting that this way. translations, deployment step, view model, translation, deployment steps, step, view model, same thing. Translation, deployment step. Okay. This one is new. This one is used. This one is new. Data localization view models, translations view model, translation deployment step view model. This is different. Translation view model. Where is that used? It's used only there. So we approved it and merged it. I'm not sure what it's fixing. So we can just assume it was broken, but here I see changes. I'm not sure what was broken in these changes. Okay. Next time, Isham will need to know what's broken.
Yep,
How to
there's a
put the break.
problem with the JSON serialization, as far as I know.
But this is only fixed by this view model and this code here. The rest has nothing to do.
Yep. And this feels weird. Unless a driver returns something that requires the shape model. Okay, so we tested it, so we'll say it's working. Next, fix broken HTML rendering when using such highlighter because when you get such results from Elastic, the highlighter, which this template is rendering, will return some fragments from the search results. Okay, one search result will give you like a big blob of text, like the summary of where it found the thing, and then it will say, by the way, this little part, you can highlight it because this is the text you are searching. But this little part, which is from an HTML source sometimes, could contain some script. So we don't want to render it as a raw value. So instead, it's sanitized to ensure it doesn't contain any bad scripts or HTML injected in the result. So this is sanitized now. Same thing for the template if it's coming from liquid sanitized HTML filter. And then it can be rendered safely in HTML. That's a fix that maybe should be shipped on the existing release. Does anyone disagree with that? So we don't.
I think that's a part of the new 3.0. Yeah.
Think?
I think the whole feature is part of it. Because we introduced the highlighter. You might want to look at the release notes of 3.0. I think it's part of it. Yeah, I think it's something I added recently, a few months back.
Search result in the search. So who cares?
Yeah, I don't think this was released. Yeah.
That's never been released.
Oh.
So we can have all the security issues we want if it's something that has never been released.
Yes, exactly. We should.
Yeah, like Google. Also, everything is marked as better. It's safe.
We need to double check though that we don't have something like this in. I've done a pass like to find all the .row and I found they were all good. I missed this one, or maybe this one happened after I checked. But yeah, we need to do just to be sure we don't use the fragments. But I believe you might. Maybe we have something else doing the same thing somewhere.
Oh, last time I told you don't believe me, so don't believe me. I remember my brain isn't with us anymore. So we'll check the release notes and
can't trust myself.
Look at the release notes of 3.0, and it will tell you if we release a highlighter in 3.0, which I believe we did. And if it is, then we're safe. If the highlighter was released in 2.2, then we need to go back and backboard it.
The highlighter is a library.
It's not. It's a new feature in the Elastic. Which let me look at.
Highlight.
It's only for 3.0. It wasn't released.
There you go.
I'm not even sure how the security researcher found this.
By checking the main branch.
So using here. Yeah, so it's part of the release of 3.3. I just shared the link. So it was added in 3.3, so we don't have to worry about it.
Okay, this code is only main. Cool. But that's an interesting issue. Such a simple fix. Beautiful. Simplify version extraction in release CI workflow. So why is the 4 space? Why is that 2 more spaces, unnecessary spaces here? But the idea is to make it simpler because this is
complicated, and this is catching dashes and stuff. It's bad. So this is just picking the correct version. So it's simplifying. So stripping anything, stripping the V actually, and takes the rest. So we can tag versions with whatever we want. It's our responsibility to make it work as a correct version. But at least the correct versions are not broken by this script anymore. And I created 20 PRs on my projects to fix that too, because this is where it's taken from. Cool. Refactor shape results for less allocations. Just one file. Just one file. So instead of creating a dictionary all the time, no, maybe it's not that. Yes, it is what it is. Okay, so let's see. So there is on the shape result a dot prefix to set the prefix, location, display type and location, and then it say it's missing something, because this one, when you set location, display type and location, you check the other locations. If there is another location, you say, let's update the other locations. Otherwise, you say it's the first display type, so you don't need to create the dictionary. You save the display type and location again. If there is a first display type, then you say, oh, maybe it's a second one, so still no dictionary. Otherwise, you're like, let's create a new dictionary with the first, the second, and this custom display type. So you convert the first and the second properties into this dictionary, and you reset that, which is good. But then if you look at this thing, maybe, no, this is prefix and default location, so I didn't say anything. Sorry. Setting the displaying property, the processing async. Why is that new? Oh no, it's not new.
Yeah, this is now
again. I got tricked again.
I moved the private method at
because
the end
I'm
of the file because
it was new.
messed.
It would never
all
work.
existing.
Okay. And then same code. Check the first, check the second. Check dictionary. This is the same code. Okay, so less dictionaries for the common case, because usually there is one or two, maybe sometimes, but
yeah, like summary and detail.
Yeah, okay, cool. Placement info for mutability and performance. So it's caching the placement info objects. With a new constructor. Placement info. Hidden is reused. Concurrent dictionary of placement info based on the source string. So when it's parsed once, we don't need to parse it again if it's the same source. This is the same, plus a local field just so we can detect if it's initialized, I believe. Or it's different.
It's just parsing all these groups and columns once instead of every time when it's accessed. And it's all cached.
Yeah, okay, that's it. The tab or nothing.
There's some follow-up work coming in the next weeks.
Because you are making placement info everywhere. Interestingly, maybe you see here when a new placement is created. I don't know how often we do combined stuff, but here, if the key was a record instead of the string that is parsed with, well, you want the string that is parsed also because you want to prevent parsing. I was thinking we could also index by these things.
Yeah, it's not everything is cached. It's just caching the location strings from the drivers. And then if you build the placement dynamically during rendering from, for example, from the placement JSON, then it's creating new instances still.
mkdocs updates, AnchorTagHelper documentation for media module. Okay. Manuel, get permitted storage and handle in the media store. So many changes. What? Oh, because now we can display also the thing.
Yeah, it displays the available storage in the media library.
What is that? Why length? Not nothing. Okay, so that's weird. So this this can be null. This can be null. Oh, this can be null. Where is that? Okay. What file was I in before?
after that? Where did I go? Price, it could be null.
I think it was file system store just below.
Anything more?
Oh no, I'm not sure.
Grab this one, default media file store part. Yes, there is a file system store and a default. Yeah, because there is a file system store and then there is the media store that inherits from that. Okay. Okay, if we have a constraint, let's validate the constraint. Media event handler. This was out of scope, though. Why do we need that? What's an implementation of that?
So if you don't want to tell how much storage is available, I mean, tell as in display, and you don't have to implement.
We have it from there, so we know if there is available space, and then it's abstracted, so you can have the custom one, and then still let's ask again.
What again? But the implementation is only for the file system storage.
No, the media also.
I mean, it's for the local file system. So if we want to have that for S3 and Azure Blob storage, this would need separate implementations. I'm not even sure whether that would be possible to do in a general way.
Then you can't provide the value. Then that's why we said that this thing could be S3 or Azure or whatever, and then it can be implemented in the file system store.
I'm not sure I'm following. So the default is that it just returns null. So there are no constraints, just as it is today, or it was before. And for the local media storage, there is a default implementation that just tells you the available storage on the file system, what you can use just as today. What are you thinking about, Sebastian?
I don't see the point of that thing.
That's an extension point. So if you don't want to override the storage completely or don't want to decorate it.
Yeah, I mean, my concern is that why don't we have then a way to decorate every context there for every method?
Well, not all of them would benefit from a similar extension method or a similar extension point. But by the way, there are a lot of extension points similar to this. So that's a new method to an existing event handler.
Event handler. Oh my God. Oh, there is everything here. Create file from stream. Create file from stream. Yeah, I'm not sure about all these. Maybe if we have time on Thursday, we'll come back to it. Next, update Redis. Okay, update minor dependencies, add core setting deployment. Is that settings, core settings. Deployment. Okay, the deployment step was not configured. Was not deployed. Site settings, property deployment step. Okay. Okay, it was not exported. Cool. Done. Demos. Where are the demos? Mike.
Hisham. Let Hisham
Yep.
first.
I will start the first one. Just a second. Hopefully my screen is shared right now, right? Okay, this is a quick demo about the ability of having a bulk option for attaching a localization part. I remember there is an issue here by Sebastian, because once we enable the content localization module, the user expects something, but then he realized that he needs to go for each content type and then adding a localization part. So this BR is improve the experience. So if we go now to localization, there is a content localization settings. So from there, the user is able to select multiple content type at once. Like, for example, I could use, for example, to save it. And the localization part is attached. And same thing, if we deselect this option, of course, it will be removed from. It's just like a user experience improvement. And that is, I think, the first demo. And if you have any feedback about it, just like simplify the process of attaching the localization part for the content localization. Any feedback about it?
Can you open the issue again? I wanted to see the
Okay, that is the issue. And I think you put 3 suggestions. And I choose the option B by providing a settings with having a list of content types with the checkboxes. Because I think the option 1 is just trivial, just showing a notification.
What you did is just for the localization or for any part?
Sorry?
What you did is just for the localization part?
Yes, for localization part, yes. Because usually the user expect when it goes to the content item that it shows the the culture drop-down list.
I'll look again the video and the recording just to be sure how it works.
Okay, this is the first. This is the first one. I have a second one very quick. Just let me go to the branch. Just a second. So, just I will build the solution very quick. Okay, just wait a second. It is building. Just few seconds because I switched the branch. So while it is building, the second demo is while we have the data localization right now, we already have it in content types and permissions. I think nothing prevents us to provide the content or data localization for menus. And that's the thing that I did for this demo. Just a couple of seconds now, it buildings. Just so close. Sorry for delay. Okay, finally it builds. Okay, we have just two admin menus here. And now if we switch the culture to French, for example, we will see that the menus, the admin menus has been localized. And the same case for the nodes or the admin menu items. If we switch the culture, all of the admin menu items types, that it comes from the content type, or if it is a placeholder or link, both are localized. And if we go here, now we will see another options. There is an admin menus to just a context more specifically for those admin menus, and the second for the admin menu items. And for the admin menu items, I added a new property because the same item could be exist in multiple menus. Like I think this one, it is there, and it is, I think, on the other one. That's why I added the menu name as a part of the context. I think something similar like what we did with the content field or content part, I think, because the part could be attached to multiple menus. I think that's it for the menus. I think the remaining things that I need to finish today is just like localizing the navigation and all the things in the menus. Now it uses data localizations. And if there is no objection, we could ship this in the 3.1, because I think this is the remaining thing that we need to do, along with the permissions and the content types in terms of data localization. That's it. If you have any feedback, welcome. Other than that, I will leave it to Mike.
A menu, an admin menu is not a content item. And today an admin menu is not localizable. How do you do that?
Which one? You mean this one?
I mean, how do you show different menus per culture?
You mean the menu items or the menus?
Isn't it the same thing? Isn't a menu a set of menu items? Like if I see, okay, so here the menus,
Yep.
they are not localizable today, but yet
Yep.
you filter them. Did you add something?
I just inject the iData localizer and put it there. That's it. I created a provider to localize them, like the thing that we did on the content types and field and part. The same thing for the permission, I think.
But data localizer doesn't care about. Oh, I see what you mean. I see, sorry. Okay,
Okay.
I thought you were creating two different menus and you were filtering which menus to show. No, you're
No,
just
no.
rendering
No.
the title dynamically. Okay, so that's
No,
data localizer. Okay, sorry. Now I get it.
Yep.
And that's why I see different thing. And there is one for the menu titles and one for the menu items.
Yep.
So for the menu and for the menu items.
Yep. Exactly. And I think it's almost the same, like the content types and content fields.
It's kind of sad that you can't group. Why can't you, by the way?
Sorry?
Why can't you use the same context for both the items and the main menu name of the same menu? And this way you would be able to translate everything from admin and everything from subadmin in one section, not so that users, they don't have to switch. Oh, I want to translate the menu title, so I need to look at the context menu titles. Or I want to convert to, you see what I mean? Like when you,
Yep.
so the context should be the menu title.
Yep. And from there, it will like localizing the admin menu, and it is submenus themselves.
Yeah, I think there should be one category, not two.
Okay, I will check this one.
If you
Thanks
can do
for
that, just by using the title of the menu, even for the menu items. So the context will be admin menu.
Yep.
Dash admin in this case, or admin, the name of the menu,
Yep,
admin in this case. And then you could use a key like title for the main menu item.
Yep.
And then the value for each of the thing.
Yep.
Something like that. Just to have just one section.
Here, I think we have like multiple implementation for menu items. Like we have a link, we have a list. We have, I think, 4 types.
Yeah, maybe there are other things to add in the key, but.
Okay, I will recheck.
We'll see.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It was good.
Okay, thank you.
Mike with his 10 demos.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I do have actually lots of demos, but I'm just gonna cover whatever we have or I can. So first, obviously all the demos are about AI, by the way, in case you didn't know that. So first of all, I just we talked about MCP server and what it's doing today. Obviously things have changed, a lot of things were added. So I just want to kind of quickly demo what the MCP server, how it looks like. So I ran a couple apps. So my site is running. I have the default tenant in here inside the artificial intelligence tab. You have MCP, and you're able to use UI to add prompts. So here's like samples of some prompts that I pre-configured for like the sake of testing and demo. And here's another one. So those are like MCP prompts.
Too fast.
I have
MCP
to go too
prompt.
fast.
What is an MCP prompt?
You're able to define.
Is that it?
Yeah, MCP. Yeah, exactly. MCP server prompt. So you can define here some prompts, rebuild prompts, and then you can also add resources to.
Okay.
So, and so you can click on add a resource, and as you can see, there's a lot of different types already out of the box available. You could add to your MCP server. For the sake of demo, I added a couple. One of them, this one, will test it out. So I said I want a resource that provides like the information about the recipe step. And so in here, I added it. And again, you can add as many resources as you want. Again, I'm going so fast because I have a lot of things. I just want to test it out. There is another app here for sample. So you can click through and actually see what's available on your server. So I have this client connected to the default tenant. And if you click on the tools, you'll be able to see all the tools that are available today on the tenant. Just so I can list them. The MCP tools. So I can actually see them.
Model Context Protocol on NPM is an app that does that. Just saying.
Yeah, but I just wanted a client here so I can, in my own sample app, I can actually, connect to my server and see what my server provides. That's all. So this is just a sample site that are, pulling all the information for me here.
I'm a bit lost here. I know you touched on it, but I still don't know what MCP prompts would be. So these are also like tools, but you can define them from the admin?
Reusable prompts is what it is.
Yeah. You know what a prompt is when you use an agent. With an MCP server, you can provide functions that your agent can call, and you can also provide prompts that your agent can list. It's like predefined prompts. So example, let's say you connect to an Orchard MCP server. Then the server will provide you functions to manipulate Orchard, to create content items, content types, and so on. but it will also be able to provide you prompts, predefined prompts that you may want to use, like, or give me a prompt to create a content type, and it will paste a bunch of text in your thing, so you don't have to type the prompt because it's a common prompt. It's very rare you use that.
All right.
That's the thing you can do.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. And speaking of prompts, you can click on prompts here and you can actually look at the prompts that are available. So first of all, you'll see the top two. Those are the two that we defined via the UI. These two. But then the rest of those are coming from the agent skills project. It was another project that I announced last week because there's integration between the two. So any MCP prompt that's available in the skills also is listed here. You can click on one and you'll be able to get it there, and you'll see here the description about the prompt. And then click on resources. If you click on resources again, you'll see all the resources available to the MCP server. So anybody's connected to this MCP server is going to see this right here. And again, all these right now that you see and are coming from the agent skills project that was announced again last week. And lastly is the resource templates. And so the resource templates are the ones that we defined earlier in the UI, but the ones with a parameter. So for example, this one right here, here's a URI to call it, but it has a parameter in the name. So you will need to provide a value here. So in this example here, you can click that, and then you'll actually get information about that feature. And if I put something else, you'll get a not found recipe step. So it just gives you information about the recipe step. So this is, again, a resource template. That's all I have on the MCP server. Any questions, or can I move on to the next? Okay, good. I move on. I'm just going to rerun the app because I don't want to use Aspire now. All right. Moving along. So while this is coming up, a lot of infrastructure was changed. Obviously, AI is moving so fast, and now we can use AI and write us code and things like that. So I'm moving as fast as AI can let me. With my limited tokens, by the way. So they changed it. So before redesigning the way how the UI work and how everything is puzzled into the AI mechanism, before we had providers and different providers, and basically we used a lot of the extensions, the Microsoft extensions AI library, just to say take the prompt, whatever that prompt, and pass it on to whatever Microsoft AI extension will do, which basically calls the API for the provider and provide a prompt with a history, and then we come back and we get the result and we show it on the user, and that was it. Right? So it was just basically a provider-driven communication. That's it. There was no such a thing as trying to understand what this user wants and route it properly, or try to give that user as much as power as we can, or try to reroute their prompt. So now we change the whole design to become more of a standalone orchestrator. So this orchestrator basically works as a one cohesive unit. The user send the prompt goes through the orchestrator. The orchestrator, based on your settings, will call the proper or use the proper provider, communicate with AI provider, but it is now responsible of a lot more than just sending the prompt. We do a lot of work up front, processing the data, where the data is coming from, what is the user is really asking, which tools to provide AI. There's a lot of things. If you're connected to multiple MCP servers, well, we can't just take all the MCP resources and just give them to the AI. It's just way too much, right? AI will freak out and will blow up. So there's a lot of things that the orchestrator has to be responsible of, which is a bit complicated to do. And you have to be able to give all the information to the AI on every request so it's able to do what the user is really asking for. So So that's what the new design is. So now we have a true orchestrator that is doing exactly that. And so, and oh, and then before I go on, so, and also before we had the bring your own data solution, it was strictly for AI Azure or the Azure OpenAI integration. So if you wanted to use to bring your own data, because everything was at meta level, is that we would just basically take the prompt and give the library the resource or the data source that it should be reading from. So if we want to do bring your own data, we'll tell you can only use the Azure OpenAI provider. Here's the data sources that you can connect or pull the data from, and then Azure OpenAI library would, in the background, index all the data that you have, embed it in a way you can actually search it and retrieve it, and you handled everything in the back end. But because now we have a true orchestrator, we don't have that limitation anymore. So we can literally use data resources with anything, with any provider we want, because we handle all that work for itself. So our data sources, we index everything, we embed everything, we make everything searchable for our AI, and our orchestrator is able to retrieve that data and provide the data as needed. Okay. So how does that all work? So first of all, I kind of added few indexes here. Those are required. So now you can click on add index and you'll see two new things, AI document. We'll talk about that in a bit. But then you have an AI knowledge base index, which is something that I created for the sake of this demo, which is this right here. And what this one does, it automatically allow you to take any data from any index and embed the data that you have, so it can become available for the orchestrator. It's not just our orchestrator, any orchestrator. And so the way how then this works is I also have here another index. So this index is for content. So I have an index that it just basically takes on articles, which is article content type, and it stores the data. And I want to expose this data to AI. So I would go in it here and then click on data sources. Then I can add a data source. So now this have changed a lot. Now you can select whichever index that you want to pull the data from. So data source index. So here, let me just call it articles, Elasticsearch, or you can call it whatever you want. And then the knowledge base index. So this is the master database. So this one is where all the data that comes from this index and get embedded and stored in here. And then you're able to define whichever fields that you want. By default, as you can see, we're already picking the default values or whatever the one that makes sense for the content, for the title, and for the key field. And then you hit save. Now you have a data source. So if you go to chat interaction and add a new interaction, and then here, obviously, it's a chat UI, you'll see here a data source, which is similar to what we had in the past. Only what the main difference is that now this data is something that is not, you don't have to use only Azure OpenAI to index this data or pull this data. You could use any index that you want. And then you can ask questions about it. What is AI or whatever? And then it should look up the data that's in this index or data source and pull that data. And so you see how I have this checkbox, which is limit responses to index data. So it's really pulling the data only from our index and nothing to do with public. If you uncheck this and then ask what is an AI, right now it's different. Now it's actually going to look at our source and doesn't have anything. And then it's going to try to get data from its common knowledge. So that's one of the things. Another thing that changed on the UI, I don't know if you noticed, but the UI have changed now. You'll see Assistant U, and you'll see some effect on this icon while the data is streaming. So a little bit more changes to the UI that make it a little more attractive. I think that's all on the data sources. Any questions? And again, I'm sorry, I'm moving so fast. Okay, no questions. Okay.
Can only these indexes be data sources? Because I remember there being others, no?
The data sources, well, the data has to be indexed. It has to be pulled from somewhere. So right now, you pull the data from any index, right? And then you'll automatically map it to a master database. And then that's it. And then the indexing happens automatically for you. Does that answer your question?
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Okay, sweet. Next one is going to be similar thing, but this time with documents. So we wanted a way to be able to attach documents. And here's the document. I don't want to index the data, right? Maybe this will even be better answer for Zoltan. I don't want to have just data inside index. I want to upload a document, and then I want to ask questions about a document, or I want to do things with that document. So there's another feature here that you can enable. So here I'm just going to enable the open XML and the PDF so I can support for those. And then enable this too. Let's kind of get all of them. So this one is documents.chat interaction, which will allow us to upload documents for the chat interaction UI. I think it's just taking time because it's restarting the app, I think, or not the tenant, reloading the tenant. Let's give it a second. All right, so all these features were enabled. So now, if we go to the chat interactions, and then we click on one of those chat interactions, now we'll see that document open up. And then here, you can actually upload documents, but there's a warning here that tells you, well, you have to configure one of your chat interactions, the documents. You have to select the master AI documents index. So I created it earlier, and I just didn't configure it. So I just configured it, and now we can go back here, and now you're able to attach documents. So if we attach a document, let's see, here's a silly file. Here's the file. Let's see what it does. I haven't tested this with this demo tenant, so I don't know how the thing works out. So here you go. It summarized that file already for me. You can ask whatever you want about that file. It will give you information about the file. So similar to the indexing, now that document is actually processed and indexed, so we're able to retrieve data from the index. So that is whenever we upload the PDF or a text file, we index the data to give it more power, right? Because if we upload a really large file, you don't want to attach the whole content of that file to the AI. So you want to be able to do a RAG, which is to retrieve some documents or some portions that make sense or relative to whatever the user is asking for. So this is again chatting with documents. There's also similar thing now with, as you can see, there's a lot of things have changed. So there's another feature called chat with chat session. So now I want to be able to create to allow me to upload documents to a chat session. So the difference between chat session and chat interaction. So chat interaction is this UI, which is like a playground, which you can just do whatever you want. There's nothing pre-configured whatsoever, which is really powerful. But with a chat session, you would have to first create a profile. And what a profile allows you to do is pre-configure everything that you want to do with your session. So in this case, you're able to define, system instructions, specific parameters that's not going to change. Now we have the ability to also attach documents. So this wasn't there. Now, why I don't have that's the enable a feature. Let me see which feature I might forget. Yeah, this is it right here. This one I forgot to enable the profiles. So demo is for. So click here, and then now
Do I
you're able to
understand correctly with this that with this document uploads feature, a profile can be a substitute for something like a ChatGPT project, because it's also a you just use ChatGPT, but you can add some context, both as text and documents. You can't change many parameters like you can do here. But otherwise, this is like a replacement for that. That's about right.
Sounds about right. Yeah. So so the difference is that with the profile is that you can create a pre-configured profile that every session that chats against that profile will get. So for example, here, if I attach a document, every single person that chats with this profile, they'll get the same context. So if I upload a file here, which I'm just going to upload the same file that we uploaded earlier. Yeah, sample test, I'm just going to save it. So after I do this, now if I click on here and hit new chat, I'm creating a chat session with this profile. So with this chat session, what is the whatever 12 cars worry about? See if everything works out. I even typed whatever, right? So this right here, this information is coming from the document that I attached into my profile, right? And then I have no way of removing it because it's pre-configured part of the profile. So really, I have no way of doing anything. I'm just chatting against a predefined. So if I create a system, right, and I want this system to have all the information that I want to pre-build it with, then I'll do that. So yes, it kind of like whatever you kind of describe is I can create a profile that mimics what ChatGPT does, right, and give it all the resources that it needs, and then from here, it can just do the same thing. So this feature was added to the AI profile, allow you to upload documents. This is actually really cool because you don't have to select data sources. You don't have to create data source to begin with. You can just give it a couple documents that you know you need, and then it'll be able to respond to you with those documents. Hopefully that makes sense. Any questions before I move on?
Yeah, the reg database, when you upload a document like this, is that those indexes, or what is it using?
Say that again.
As the database. So, or what's it using as the reg database behind the scenes? Is that the indexes?
Yeah, so this is what you created here. So in this case here, the master AI document, this is used for RAG. And then this one right here, the master knowledge base, which is a data source, these are the master databases for RAG. So you notice I created just 2 indexes. That's all you really need at the bare minimum. And then everything else is managed for you. So anytime you attach a document, because this is configured, it will store it as embedding into this index, which is the master index for all your AI documents.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Okay. So now there's something that existed in the past, but last time Sebastian had a question about it or mentioned it about widgets. So I want to demo. I created a demo or a widget here that I'm just going to publish, and then we're just going to go on the front end. And so you'll see this icon right here, and you open it, and then you can actually chat. I don't know what this profile is. Whatever. Let's see what it comes back with. Again, the UI here was changed. There you go. It's finding information from my profile, and then you can chat with it. You can start a new chat here. You can look at your chat session history and then select something that you previously have used. You can load it. If there's a issue here with the UI I have to fix, I think it has to do with this theme. Then I can just close it. I can drag it around if I don't want it here. I can move it around. Same thing if I want this to be moved, I can move it around, and that's this. Okay. Now, what's really another feature that I added because Sebastian said why we don't have it. Okay, so this is a new feature that was added since last week, which is add AI chat admin widget. So I'm going to enable that feature. And what this feature what the name kind of gives it away, it provides a widget for you to use as an admin. To configure it after you enable the feature, you have to go to the artificial intelligence settings, and then there's a bunch of settings here, by the way, that you can change. And then in here in the admin widget section, you can select whichever profile that you want to use with this widget and save it. So now I save it, and boom, now look at this nice little icon that just popped. So I click here, and again, similar to the widget or the design we saw earlier, and then you're able to chat with it. One thing I just want to show you what I did here with this profile. So before we chat, here, I'm going to close this up. So in here in the admin widget, I selected all the capabilities, everything. I gave it people that you can do whatever you want, right? So it has more capability for me as an admin, because this is an admin widget. You don't have to really give it documents, but sure, if you want to give it documents, feel free. What's really cool with this is that you can add MCP connections. I'll say that's a different demo, but you can also enable the MCP clients feature and just connect it to your MCP server or your Orchard Core MCP server, and then give it access to the MCP server. It will have even more power. So if you click here, and now you can chat, you can say things like, is the graph feature enabled? Look at, I just typed GraphQL, right? I didn't give it ID or anything like that. So look what it did. It actually identified the ID for that feature automatically all on its own, and then it say it's not available. It's not enabled. And features is just one thing, and so now it has been enabled successfully. And if you really want to prove that it worked, you can just go into here, and then you should see it being enabled. The graphical. So
why don't you ask it to open the features page?
Yeah. Well, because I don't have that capability just yet to navigate. I don't have the way to navigate just yet. But we'll have that soon. But But then I can ask it, whatever whatever basically the capabilities that I gave it, I'm able to execute. So I can go here, and then if you just want to see all the list of the things that you can do, which is in the capabilities. So you can do content management, you can do feature management, recipes, configuration. There's a lot of tools already available. You can say create the content type for employees, where I can capture first and last name. Let's see what it does. I haven't tested these commands, by the way, so I don't know how it's going to behave. And I'm connecting using a PPT 4.1 mini. So it's not the last model. No, actually, this is not local. It's not local. All right, and so look at that. It actually gave me an example of the recipe, and then you'll see that the recipe is very clean. It should be correct. And the reason why it's very correct, because I have a feature that for the recipes, and it always gives you the correct recipes. So hopefully that feature, I can remove it from my project, and hopefully we'll put that as part of the Orchard Core. But you'll see that here you go. Would you like me to apply it? Sure. So let's see what it does. Hopefully everything goes well. And then also, this is a copy button is ugly.
Invalid.
Apply, describe its recipe format. But look at it, it's fixing itself, right? Look at it's still going, right? So you found there's something invalid. Now it's actually trying to fix itself, right? So that's the power of the orchestrator now. So you'll see it, you're actually seeing the power of the orchestration. It determined there's something wrong. Hey, I'm gonna go and fix it myself. It's more of a true agent behavior than before it was just answering back. So this is really actually a good example. I came up with a good example without me actually trying. Really cool.
So if I ask something next week, you demo it?
No, I'm not an AI, but you can ask Copilot with your
last week,
unlimited
last week,
tokens.
and you did something. So if I ask something else, you will do it.
Running out of tokens.
See, so I will solve.
Better wait till next one.
Can you expose the MCP? Can you expose an MCP server using the SDK if possible, the .NET SDK?
Yes. Yes.
And
so you can go here.
I will finish my sentence.
Go ahead.
And expose it and authenticate it, secure it using auth.
Now you can add MCP connections, and then currently I don't think we support everything, all the options.
Why do you call it connection?
Because it's a connection to an MCP server.
Okay, but I want Orchard to have a feature which is an MCP server.
We already have.
And then,
you mean a running client?
No, a running server. An endpoint / MCP, like /tenant / MCP.
Yeah.
So as a feature that enables an endpoint MCP, that enables the .NET SDK as an MCP server. You have the capabilities, you have the tools, you have everything here. So just expose it as an MCP server, such that we can connect from an external agent using auth, so securely. And then everything you showed in your chat widget, I could also then do that using Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, we already have that. That's the MCP. That's what the MCP server feature
and
is.
Is it protected
but you just have to host it.
I mean, a server is hosted. So if it's not hosted, it's not a server, in my opinion.
Well, that's true, but we're giving you everything. It's a module that you can just host, right? So maybe we can use .nest to run an app and have it run it.
I don't care about .nest. I'm here. You have a web app, it's hosted, it's running, and I can access it. I can access the admin, I can access the front end. It's Orchard. If I enable, for instance, the media feature, there is a new endpoint where I can see my media. What I want, if I enable the model context protocol server feature, it's creating a new endpoint, so I can send my MCP. I can talk to the MCP server. Okay, that's what an MCP server is, right? And assuming this is what the feature does.
Yep.
And now it's an endpoint, but it's unsecured. Like I would assume that there is no security around.
It is secured.
By which
invalid assumption. Invalid assumption, because we do have everything secured.
So instead of the chat widget, why don't you show us like with using like Copilot CLI or VS Code chat, just connecting to it, so I can then use another agent to do that?
Well, because I don't have it hosted, is what I'm saying.
Well, no, it's local. So I still don't understand. It's local. You can, if you open your CLI locally, it will, like today, your browser connects to localhost. So your client can connect to localhost. It's hosted, it's there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can just add a connection. So you can enable this feature onto a default tenant, right? And then you can go in here and you can say, hey, I want to add a connection to the default tenant. And then this will use the MCP server running on the default tenant. But I think what you're saying is that you want the MCP server for the local tenant. So I am here at tenant demo 2. You want to run the MCP server on demo 2, and then you want it to automatically connect to it. So I understand it connects to you. That's what you're asking for.
Until your last sentence, everything was right. Once it's hosted under demo 2, it's hosted, it's there, it's a server. At that point, I can send requests to it using whatever client I want. A browser, a CLI, VS Code, it's hosted. So what I'm just asking is, if it's there, just open VS Code and connect to it. Add an MCP server.
Yeah. You can do that already.
And how does it authenticate?
Because there's different type of authentications that you could connect to.
Okay, so that's
one. You could have no authentication. You can. First of all, so I wasn't going to show this off yet, but there's a new site for the documentation that I created. And then in here in the MCP server, you can actually look at authentication information. Then you can have, there are different parameters. You can say no authentication, or you can say API authentication, or you can say, trying to see if that's part of the documents actually.
So no, an API is great locally. Then I would love to see auth, because this way we can deploy publicly.
Yeah, I can enable. All right. So last demo. We don't have a lot of time. Last demo. So now we have our own orchestrator, which is wonderful, beautiful, and I keep improving it. But now look what we have. So you have an AI Copilot built in as an orchestrator. So now if you're not happy with the results of our orchestrator, you can actually enable integration with the Copilot. Yeah, it's another feature. There you go. So you go to the same settings here, artificial intelligence settings, and then you're able to configure Copilot. There's different types of authentication types. So you can have a user signed in. So every user can use their own account to communicate with Copilot, or you can use an API key if you're like have this service hosted in Azure, right? And then you can just tell it with type of provider you want to use to connect. So in this case, I have Azure OpenAI. And then you have OpenAI and RPA. But in this case, I have it pre-configured just for the sake of the demo. Now, if I go to the interactions, and then I can click on anything I want, right? And then now you'll see an orchestrator option coming up. So you can either use a default orchestrator, or you can change it to GitHub. So now if you select the hub, you're able to select allow all tools. I don't know why it didn't show a menu, models. No, I think there's a bug here, because I had a way to click on the models and change the model too. So if you want to interact with a specific model, you can. So I have to see why that is. But now I can just ask whatever prompt. Oh, no, let me just remove all this. And okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll just clear my chat. And this now, what happens that it's going to utilize the Copilot integration. It does not use my orchestrator. It uses the one that came up with or Copilot. So the request is completely handled hands off to the Copilot, and everything is handled by Copilot. Copilot is aware of all the capabilities that you select here. If you add documents, it is also available, or it is aware of the documents. It is doing everything the same as our orchestrator is doing, but obviously with a different logic, right? We have our own logic to give AI context. Copilot has probably more sophisticated logic, but what happens here is that we're given the Copilot everything that it needs: documents, data sources, even data sources available for Copilot. Capabilities here, it's all available. If you add MCP connections, right, to multiple servers, so you can define multiple server connections or connections to multiple servers, you can actually give that. It will be listed up here, and you can select whichever capability or MCP connection that you want to give it, and it will just handle everything for you. So this is the integration with Copilot. And if I change the settings really quick here, hopefully you guys are not bored with all these things that I'm covering. So if I change it here, yeah, I forgot I have to provide client ID and client secret. But if you follow these instructions, you can actually integrate it or enable it where when you click here, and then hit that, and you'll be able to select or click here to sign in. So the user have to click in to sign in GitHub, and then we take the token, we save it, and we reuse the token. And by the way, the same thing happens here with a profile. So you can click on a profile, and now if you don't want the default orchestrator, you can actually use a GitHub integration. And then the profile itself will always use the pre-configured settings, but this time it will use the Copilot orchestrator. And there's more demos, but I'm done. I'm done for today. I'll have some more tomorrow next week. Questions, comments? All right, no questions. So just one thing I'll say, this was released, a documentation site. This, if you need to search document, and hey, there's a versions, like there's a version selector with this documentation, which is kind of cool. So if we release a new version, you can change.
Selector.
As you say, right now it's say latest, but because that's the only thing we have. But yeah, this is a documentation site. New, I try to add as much as information I can in there. So yeah, that's it.
Cool. It's a mess. I just want so the last thing you showed using the Copilot SDK is better. That's almost what I want, but it's even, I think you missed the first step to use an external orchestrator.
Which is?
Which is connecting to the MCP server using any orchestrator. Copilot local CLI, Copilot VS Code, ChatGPT, Claude. It allows way more end-user friendly experiences than what you showed. Because your thing is very too technical for users. You lost everyone. And if you start it from the user's perspective and then build upon features instead of showing all the details of what you can do, which is amazing, but nobody will get that until I think. Like for me, ideally, you open Orchard, you enable the MCP feature, you open ChatGPT, you connect to your Orchard, local or distant, and you use ChatGPT to do the thing, like create a content type, just to show the demo what you can do. And then you go deeper and you show, oh, you can do it directly in the interface if you use a Copilot account. Or you can create your own knowledge base and then all these things. I would do the other way around. It's a different, just to sell the usage of that.
Yeah, sounds good.
So next week, a new demo. Thank you. You've done the hardest thing. Like you can already connect from the GitHub token and everything.
Yeah, you connect everything. It's pretty sophisticated.
It's not secure for sure.
It is. Yeah,
yeah, sure. I saw your fragments.
If you have a good user, you'll be able to configure it.
I saw the fragments.
Securely.
It was done. It was the simplest thing. So the token management. Oh boy.
What?
At least you have enabled the secrets module, right, to store your token.
Yeah. Did we merge that?
No, it's reviews and it's testing.
So how do you expect me to use it if it hasn't been merged?
Zoltan tried, found some bugs.
There you go. So until you fix all the bugs with the unlimited tokens,
okay,
it's useless.
It's late. We need to go to bed.
Yeah, all the Europeans.
No, even us. Now it's too late now. Awesome. Okay, so let's see everyone on Thursday. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Hisham.
Hey guys.
Okay, thanks.
See you soon.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.